This week, the headlines were set ablaze with the clash between Ayo Fayose, the former governor of Ekiti State, and Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president of Nigeria. Now, we've seen these two clash before, but the latest round of back and forth takes things to a whole new level. This time, Fayose didn't hold back when he accused Obasanjo of being very irresponsible in his recent public remarks. It's like the gloves are completely off and the tension is palpable. Now, what exactly triggered this outburst? To put it simply, Fayose was not happy with some comments Obasanjo made during a speech at his birthday celebration. As usual, Obasanjo is no stranger to controversy, but this time, Fayose didn't just sit back and let it slide. He went straight for the jugular, calling out Obasanjo for making reckless comments. And here's the thing, these two have a long history, a complicated relationship that goes back years. They've been on opposite sides politically for a while, but this latest clash seems to have stirred up something deeper. The words "you are very irresponsible" aren't something you throw around lightly, especially when you're addressing someone as prominent as Obasanjo. Fayose's message was loud and clear. Not only did he disagree with Obasanjo's comments, but he also felt that as a former president, Obasanjo should have known better. It's a direct shot at Obasanjo's character and his legacy, and is shaking things up in a big way. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Despite the heated words, there's also an element of reconciliation in the air. Apparently, Obasanjo has forgiven Fayose, or at least that's what he's saying publicly. Now, if you know anything about Nigerian politics, you know that forgiveness can sometimes be just as calculated as a good old-fashioned political battle. Is this a moment of real peace, or is it just another power play? That's the big question. We've seen public figures in Nigeria do this before, acting like they're reconciling, but still keeping one eye on the political chessboard. Fayose's accusation that Obasanjo's comments were irresponsible speaks volumes about how he views the former president's behavior. It's not just about the words Obasanjo said, it's about the message he's sending to the public. Fayose isn't just calling out Obasanjo for a slip of the tongue or a poorly timed comment. No. This is about what he perceives as a lack of responsibility, a failure to lead in the way a former president should. It's about calling out the system, calling out those who are supposed to set an example. And that, my friends, is a huge move in the world of Nigerian politics. Now, let's not forget, this isn't the first time these two have butted heads. Their history is filled with tension and rivalry. Obasanjo, with his decades of political influence, and Fayose, the outspoken former governor, are like oil and water. You can't mix them, and you can't ignore their differences. But what we're seeing now is not just a personal feud. It's a reflection of the broader political climate in Nigeria. It's about power, it's about control, and it's about who gets to define the narrative. Obasanjo, for all his faults, is still a major figure in Nigerian politics. His opinions carry weight, and his influence stretches far beyond the political sphere. He's been there, done that, and held the highest office in the land. But Fayose's criticism is a reminder that power, no matter how long you've held it, is never permanent. People will always find reasons to challenge you, and in this case, Fayose is doing just that. He's questioning Obasanjo's decisions, his leadership, and more importantly, his place in the political future of Nigeria. So let's break this down. Fayose is not just upset about what Obasanjo said. He's upset about the timing, the context, and the message it sends. In a time when Nigeria is grappling with so many issues, economic hardship, insecurity, and political instability, Fayose feels that Obasanjo, as a former leader, should be setting a better example. He's challenging Obasanjo's authority, not just as a former president, but as a figure who still holds influence in the country. And then there's the question of forgiveness. Obasanjo has publicly stated that he's forgiven Fayose, but what does that really mean? Does forgiveness mean peace? Or does it simply mean that the two are putting their differences aside for the time being? In Nigerian politics, forgiveness can be a strategic move as much as a personal one. Maybe Obasanjo is hoping to keep his image intact, or maybe he's just tired of the drama. Either way, his forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean that the tension is over. This back and forth is a reminder that in politics, everything is personal. The lines between political rivalry and personal animosity can get blurred. And in this case, we're seeing that play out in real time. But there's one thing we know for sure. This won't be the last time we hear from these two. Whether they reconcile or continue to spar, their political rivalry is far from over. As we watch this drama unfold, it's important to keep an eye on how the public reacts. Will they side with Fayose, the outspoken critic, or will they rally behind Obasanjo, the elder statesman? Political figures like Fayose and Obasanjo don't just influence each other, they influence the public. And the way they handle this situation could have a ripple effect on the political landscape in Nigeria. So as this story continues to develop, make sure you're paying attention. There's a lot at stake here, not just for Fayose and Obasanjo, but for Nigeria as a whole. The actions of these two men could set the stage for the next chapter in Nigerian politics. And trust me, you won't want to miss it. If you've been following this, or if you just want to keep up with the latest, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated. I'll be back with more details and analysis as this story develops. Trust me, there's more to come.